the way, the conscious way, the way of conscious mindfulness. Podcast with me, Sifu Boggie. Sifu means guide, muse, someone who points you along the way, who guides you on your path. Boggie means a balancer between the chaos and the calmness. And for the last 39 years, I have studied the Taoist arts. The Tao means the way, the path, the balance. And I have studied techniques and arts like Tai Chi, Qigong, Tit-Ta, Tui-Na, Chinese massage, reflexology, Ba Kwa Chang, Zhamzhong, Xingyi, 5-element cooking, 5-element theory, the I Ching, the Tao Te Ching, and many other different techniques, all aimed to help find your very own personal way, path, or Tao. And over the years, the students I've helped have had ME, MS, fibromyalgia, chronic pain, migraines, back problems, knee problems, and they've all been helped some way with the Taoist techniques and Qigong and the things that I do. I've also helped healers, light workers and coaches supercharge themselves and ensure they never burn out. So that's who I am and what I do. What's this show all about? This is Sit Down with Sifu on a Saturday. Hello, Saturday. And this week we are continuing with rooting, centering and grounding. Now they are part of what's called the three ones, the different aspects that are connected to the universe, connected to one of those 3-1 systems of mind, body and spirit, or the 3 M's, which is medical, martial and meditational. Or another one is Qi, Jing and Shen, different aspects of energy or vitality. So last week we talked about rooting. So it has a physical side to it, an emotional side to it, and an energetic or spiritual side to it. And rooting is one of the biggest things its focus is on is rooting in the body, connecting with the body, connecting to the earth, being rooted into that ground, so you have that stability. Now, this week's podcast is about centering. Now, these words can be a little bit confusing because they sound very similar, at least in the West, but the whole idea is that each one holds a different aspect to balance, to balancing your energy, so balancing within the body, but it does affect it. Rooting is balancing the body, but it does affect other things as well. Centering is in the body, but it's actually in the emotions as well, but it's also in the energy. And next week we'll talk about grounding. But this week, so centering is in essence is your center, being centered. You know, there are definitely different phrases or metaphors from this word itself. Being centered, meaning, being balanced within your mind, being balanced within the situation. Being centered can also represent to a degree about living in the now, being in the present moment, being centered in that present moment. But one of the biggest things being the centering is all about is connecting to the heart and the middle dantian. Now, I have sort of talked about dantians before. Dantians are sort of like power cells. People sort of misunderstand them, think they're like a chakra. The chakras are more like turbines. They generate energy, different types of energy. Dantians are cells. They're power cells. They store the energy. And they are actually known to convert uncultivated energy into cultivated energy. So easy for me to say, uncultivated qi into cultivated qi, uncultivated jing into cultivated jing, and uncultivated shen into cultivated shen. Now there's a little bit of a debate on where these are. There are, with the dantians, some say that the lower dantian is jing and the middle dantian is qi. How I was taught, my Sifus taught me, and the information I saw was the lower dantian was qi, like the ocean of qi being your physical vitality, or especially when it's cultivated, it becomes your health and fitness. And jing is actually resides the dantian, the middle dantian, actually stores jing. So basically, uncultivated jing is passion going into cultivated jing, which is compassion, unconditional love. So where you have aspects of, say, like Jesus Christ, and you see the heart shape in the center of his body, you have statues within other philosophies where they have something glowing in the heart, or in Buddhism and Taoism, there's one in the belly, one in the heart, one in the top of the head, the pineal gland. The middle one is considered, and I say very much with my Sifus, as being the middle dantian is in line with the heart chakra, and in actual fact, not get too complicated, but the dantians are right in the center, and the heart chakra is actually at the front and the back, because each chakra has a front version and a back version, and then a little bit of like a void in the center, it was taught to me and shown to me. But we'll talk about chakras another time. But the dantians reside in the center, so they're in the middle of the thrusting channel, or the Jedi, the pillar of light. They're connected into this straight line. They go from the top of the head all the way down to the perineum. And these are energy centers. Now, the interesting thing is that around about 15 years ago, there was a Russian scientist that actually detected the Meridian System. They called it bioelectric channels, and the meridians of the body they actually detected using a special camera, and they said they could see these different channels. Now, they also picked up three other things, detection of something in the belly, something in the heart, and something at the top of the head. They thought, or people thought, that's the chakras, but they definitely said that it was something different. They didn't know what they were, but there was something else. There was only three chakras. Now, the camera was picking up bioelectrical and biomagnetic energy, and in the heart itself, the heart is actually said, your heart actually creates a bioelectric magnetic field. Now, this information, it's interesting. Some people think it's separate to the dantians. Some people think it is the dantian, or at least the heart one is the dantian. I think the fact that the information's there is always interesting, and it correlates to certain things within the ancient knowledge. It correlates to a lot of things in the ancient knowledge. So there is this biomagnetic and bioelectric field within the heart. When you are happy, this energy field expands. When you are frightened or scared or angry, it contracts. Now, when it expands, the cells within this field thrive. The cells, their repair rate increases, and they seem to get stronger, which sort of correlates. Like when you're in love, you seem to be, you don't get ill as much. You seem to be happier. Everything doesn't bother you as much. But when you're scared and frightened, or tired and stressed, your immune system seems to lower, and you're more likely to get colds and flu. You're more likely to sort of injure yourself, like not see things and have an accident. So this field does seem to be within the location of the heart and or where this middle dantian is. Though the middle dantian is not heart level, but it's actually said to be more dead centre. Now, so being centered means connecting to your heart, being one with your heart. Now, again, there's an interesting thing that's come up in science when they look at this information, that they actually find that, for example, the heart actually contains brain cells. There are actually brain cells found within the heart. So the heart has memory of sorts. It has some form of memory. Now, within Eastern philosophy, they would say that you have a monkey mind and Taoist thought or Buddhist thought. So monkey mind is ego, Taoist thought, Buddhist thought is intuition. Now, obviously, in cartoons, that can also be represented as an angel on one side, one shoulder, and a demon or devil on the other shoulder. So the demon is normally represented by, by those distracting thoughts, the monkey mind. And the angel is the intuition, that guide, that sort of whispers more rather than shouts. Now, within the knowledge of actual science, psychology, they actually found that the forebrain contains up to 60 to 90,000 thoughts every single day. You have up to 60 to 90,000 thoughts, which can distract you, can run you round in circles. And they found that people who breathe in a certain way, and especially meditate, they find that heart field actually increases and gets stronger. And when they're more emotionally balanced, that heart field gets stronger. Now, the irony is, or the interesting thing is when the ancient knowledge, especially Taoist, but in the ancient knowledge, they talk about the ego or monkey mind and intuition or Buddha thought or Taoist thought, they actually, even though sometimes it's represented on the shoulders, they actually say that the ego is in the forebrain, in the front of the head, and the intuition is in the heart. So this idea of being centered, living in the now, living in that present moment, that is a very, big thing within Eastern philosophy. A lot of different philosophies, especially Taoism, they talk about, within Taoism, they talk about living in the now. That's part of being the balance, living in that moment. Whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, is living in the present moment allows you to be more aware, allows you to react to situations, rather than living in that forebrain where you get distracted by negativity and stress and worry or things in the past and what your parents would say to you if you was doing whatever you're doing now, and you get distracted by all these different thoughts that happen in the forebrain, where a lot of that information is stored. And so within meditation, they talk about either focusing at the back, so drawing your attention to the back. But in Taoism, they talk about drawing your attention to the heart at least, and actually placing your hands onto your chest, on the heart. And in actual fact, an original meditation, the technique of prayer, placing their hands together, actually predates Christianity, predates a lot of religion, and it was used in meditation to center the feminine and masculine sides of the body. And the hands would be placed at heart level, so palms would be together, placed at heart level. So you would draw you would draw balance between the masculine and feminine sides of the body, as well as drawing your awareness, your attention to the center, to your heart level. And it is known that when people meditate on their hands, either hands, one hand on top of the other on the heart, or even in that prayer position, and they breathe just for a short period of time, just for a few minutes, 5, 10, 15 minutes, they find that it actually lowers their heart rate. It lengthens their breath, and it starts to balance, it starts to calm the mind. So this idea of centering has a lot of knowledge behind it, but has a lot of backing of science behind it to a degree. There's a lot of information about meditation, about actually focusing on the heartbeat and lowering your heartbeat rate, focusing on the breath, drawing it down to the heart level and extending your breath. No, at some point, I think we've actually talked about it to a degree, but belly breathing is like actually lowering it even lower, drawing it down to the belly and focusing on the belly. It opens up the diaphragm fully when breathing. But this idea of centering, this idea of drawing your awareness to your heart, drawing your focus there, allowing yourself to be centered. And in actual fact, there is a lot of evidence to show that there are brain cells within the heart, and there's a lot of evidence to sort of show that when you come from the place of the heart, when you feel and you draw yourself to the mind rather than your thoughts. Now, there is obviously, in the West, a lot of people think mind as your brain. But in the Eastern concept, mind is heart, mind is your emotions, mind is your feelings. So focusing on your mind, so mind, body and spirit. The spirit would actually be the thoughts and the brain, the full brain and beyond. But coming from your heart, coming from your center is a quite powerful or quite known saying in China, is coming from the center. And that means to be connected to the heart, to come from that heart energy and that heart level. So when we talk about rooting, we are talking about more of a physical thing to a degree, where we're talking about connecting the body to the ground, rooting into that ground, centering. So rooting into the ground, but rooting is also rooting into that situation. There is an emotional side to it. There is a spiritual side to it, rooting within, feeling, knowing oneself, rooting into your thoughts and your beliefs, rooting into a form that, so it's more than just a physical thing. There is more to it as well. Centering obviously focuses first more on the emotions, centering your emotions, centering how you feel. But centering is also about balance as well. It does go into the balance side, about keeping in the center. So, for example, if you are doing either martial arts, more of the physical martial arts, or things like Tai Chi and Qigong, where you could be on one foot. The idea is keeping your balance centered would mean to keep your weight aligned with the foot on the ground. Now, obviously, if both feet on the ground, you keep the weight centered between those feet. But if you only got one foot on the ground, then it's aligning the hips slightly so your weight stays centered within your foot. So it's not actually, tipping out. You're not tipping to the left or the right. If you're on your left foot and you're kicking out to the right, you want the weight back in the centre. You want it in the centre of your foot, the foot on the ground. You want it into that centre position so you keep yourself balanced. And within the energy work, finding that centre, well, there's a lot of work on Wu Qi, the circle. And the centre, of the circle is a void to a degree. The centre is either a void, so it's either nothing or it's something. But finding that centre, that very much goes into very much the Zen way. So Zen is singular action. Zen is the point, the focus. But Zen is finding that centre. You're going directly for that target. You're not deviating in any way. Zen in Japanese, Chan, it is in Chinese. And that focus point, that drawing that focus, drawing to that centre, finding that centre path, and you stick to it and you do what you need to get done. That is very much the Zen way, wherein the Tao is more flowing, it's more adapting, but we still find a centre. We still need to be centred. So within standing Tai Chi, like Zhamzhong, standing stake, stand like a tree, the whole idea of centering is using rooting. You root, you connect to the earth with whatever is touching the ground, and then that centering keeps you, so rooting keeps you connected to the earth, centering keeps you balanced, keeps you from tipping to the left or right, forward or back. It's drawing in that centre. And eventually there is this whole idea of rooting and centering when moving. So every time the foot goes on the ground, it connects, and you try to claw into the ground, you try to connect to that earth, but you're keeping your body in alignment. Centering, in a physical term, is also alignment, to keep your body aligned. So, centering is very much this emotional aspect. It is very much about keeping yourself aligned, whether that's physically or emotionally or even spiritually. It's allowing yourself to be connected to the heart, to be rooted in a sense in your heart and your emotions, not as in instantly reacting to whatever emotions you are, but it's keeping yourself in that balanced state, living in the centre, living in the now, allowing yourself just to be, and allowing yourself to keep connected and rooted and centred to everything you do and to the position on the earth that you are, so you don't fall over. So, centering, connecting with the heart, at least breathing from heart level, drawing your awareness to your heart at least. When you draw your awareness away from the brain, from the forebrain, you're drawing it away from that chaos, away from that 10,000 things. So those 60 to 90,000 thoughts running around in your head, you pull it away to your heart, you pull it away to your centre. It's a bit like a tornado or a hurricane. The forebrain is very much that chaos, that confusion. And drawing yourself to centre is that quiet zone, that stillness, the calm before the storm, the eye of the hurricane. So centering is very much about finding one's calm, finding one's balance within the world of chaos and calmness. So, centering is, in essence, I'm just wondering whether to carry on, whether I carry on or leave it here. Maybe leaving it here would be a good point to leave, to focus on one's centre, focus on the heart, knowing that the heart has a energetic, a bioelectric and biomagnetic field, that when you're focusing on that heart and you're allowing yourself to be at peace and be happy, that field expands and grows, which allows your body to get stronger and healthier. Being in that centre draws you away from your monkey mind, draws you away from that chaos, and it allows you to feel and to know rather than to think and to, try. So it's more about being in the centre, it's more about knowing and doing than it is thinking and trying. Being in the head, we try this or we worry about this or we think about that. But being in the heart, it's more about connecting to your emotions, your feelings, but also to the feelings of the universe as well. In actual fact, while we are here, there are, a great few little techniques that I was taught about centering. Was that if you wanted to, ask a question, you could obviously ask the tarot card or ask a psychic, but asking yourself as yourself is the most powerful, intuitive person you actually know, though we're not taught this. When you listen to your heart and focus on your heart and focus on a feeling, is there a good outcome to this thing? Whatever that thing is, and then listen to your heart. Now, if you feel expansive, if that energy feels, you feel more confident as you're thinking of that thing, whatever it is. If you feel more confident about it and strong, then that would be a yes. If you're feeling unsure and nervous or heavy, and maybe a bit jittery, that would be at least a no for now. And I have actually used this for many, many years, like the whole feeling of meditating with the heart. You can put the hands in prayer position. You can put the hands, just one hand on top of the other at heart level, and then just breathe and focus on that thing. What's the outcome of this? What's the outcome of this? And then just carry on breathing and just allowing things to be. And again, so if you feel expansive, if your heart feels like it's getting lighter, and or your energy is getting bigger as well, then they're all positive moves. That what you're asking is a positive move forward. But if you feel like your energy is shrinking, you feel like you're getting heavy, if it feels like you're getting more nervous or irritable as you focus on that thing, then that could be that in essence is indicating it may not be a good idea. It may not be the right thing to do for now. So that's, a sort of tarot version of the heart. The heart reading is the tarot. It's sort of like a heart version of the tarot cards. And it has something I've used many times, and I still use to this day. Then breathing in the heart, allowing yourself to feel from the heart. Don't only think, allow yourself to feel things and go from the heart, which is important. So, next week we will go on to grounding, which is not quite what it sounds. Connecting would be a better word. But we'll go into grounding next week. So this week is a little bit of a short one. It makes up for the times they're a lot longer. So I hope you've enjoyed this podcast. If you have any questions, if I've left you feeling a little bit confused, I am sorry about that. But sometimes, like I say, sometimes you may need a little bit more information. Then why not ask me a question? Or if you would like to, why not actually come on to contact me. And you can come on to Sit Down with Sifu on a Saturday and ask me a question, because I'm quite happy to anybody wants any questions, wants any more information about any of the topics I've already talked about on Sit Down with Sifu on a Saturday. More than happy to do a podcast on it and explain it in a different way, or maybe add more information. So if you've got any questions, don't hesitate to contact me. You can find me on Instagram under Sifu.Boggie. You can find me on YouTube under Sifu Boggie. You can find me on Facebook under The Way of Sifu Boggie. My profile was actually called Sifu Boggie. And also, so The Way of Sifu Boggie is my fan page. And another fan page is The Way of Conscious Mindfulness. And also you can also find me on podcasts. So you can find me on Spotify as a podcast under either Sifu Boggie or The Way of Conscious Mindfulness. And you can also find me on Bring Me to Life Network, and I am on there as well. So that's it for now. And if you are interested in learning, say Qigong, learning more about centering, rooting, grounding, I actually do a life coach session on these as well as actually teaching Qigong as well. Though in the Qigong classes, you sort of learn a little bit of everything. So it is about the exercises, but it's also about the philosophy. It's also about the energy work and do a little bit of Shunqi Dao, which basically is like a Taoist empowerment of sorts, energy session. And so if any of that interests you, you can find me on Patreon under www.patreon.com/Sifu Boggie. So that's it for now, really. Hope you enjoyed this show. Until next time, love, chi, and Shen. And remember, open your mind to the way, the conscious way, the way of conscious mindfulness.